everybody's job is just to feed it to Ovechkin. And I can't say that they're wrong when he's scoring 50 goals a year. I mean, it'll be interesting to see where McDavid ends up with goals to assists by the end of the year.
Yeah. And on Washington's end with Oshie and Ovechkin. In the plus-minus category, you've got big old Shea Weber with a plus 16, and the league average is a negative 0.1.
Oof. I mean, he's killing it this year. He really is. I think maybe that team, that change, and him playing in front of Price, we can say that right there. Price is the best goalie in the game.
Yeah, and that's the next stat that I got up here is goals against average and save percentage, which Carey Price is leading in both those categories.
Neither surprise me.
With a 1.4 in goals against, and the league average is a whole 1.1 ahead of him with 2.59. His save percentage is .957, and the league average is .913. And he's doing a fantastic job because he's also got a league-leading 10 wins, and the league average is 3.
Yeah, he is on a tear. But that team in general is just good. Yeah, like that, they're everywhere. Like, but
doing really good.
And I mean, even like I was kind of like, well, when are they gonna put a backup in?
I think that this might be the year that there's actually a Canadian team in the playoffs.
Well, I believe there will be a Canadian team in the playoffs, but will the Canadians will they continue to keep this pace and actually?
Yeah,
and actually get there.
It could be a different story at the end of the year. Same thing goes with Winnipeg.
But they're 13-2-1 right now.
Yeah,
I mean that's damn good.
Yeah.
That's
I think right now
two regulation losses.
They need to stay on top of it and not let things get out of hand to where it's going to be. I know that winning games now takes the pressure off later, but at the same time, you don't want to risk falling back into where you're fighting into the wild card.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think I would say I mean, we'll throw the Rangers in there. They're 12-4.
Yeah,
they're just as good. But I mean, if you look at the top division leaders, at least 3 of the 4. Go with me on this one. 3 of the 4: Canadians, Rangers, Blackhawks, Oilers. What did 3 of the 4 have? Amazing goaltending. Price, Lundqvist, Crawford. I mean, the Oilers, Talbot's doing good this year. You can't take it away from them, but they haven't really went to their backup that much.
Yeah.
And maybe then that could be a problem for them later.
Yeah.
But Price, man, you can't even.
He's doing fantastic.
He is.
The only goalie beating him in one stat right now, major stat, is Tuukka Rask, and that is in shutouts. Tuukka Rask has 3 shutouts.
He does, yeah. And I think there was a tie. I believe so. I think. I think Crawford has 2. Dubnyk has 3, but Tuukka also NHL's number 1 player of the week.
Yeah,
came back and had 2 shutouts this week alone.
Yeah, this week I really wanted to get out of all of the regular stats and look into some different stats. And the first one I wanted to look at was hits. And number 1, you got the Los Angeles Kings with 504 hits. And as you get down the list, it goes from 433, 418, 414, 413, and then it just starts slowly going down. But they're 70 hits plus. They're over 70 hits above number 2.
Which kind of surprises me with that team. I mean, they used to be a big team. They're not as big anymore. I mean, they're still physical. But LA has always played that physical style.
Like they're 7-8 right now.
Well, that's contributed to the goaltender issues they've had.
Yeah, and that's no doubt. Another stat that I wanted to look at was block shots.
Can I take a guess?
Go
Can
on.
I say within the top 5, Edmonton is there.
No. Edmonton's not even in the top 10 or 11.
Man, that's really surprising because Chris Russell, who they picked up this year, is a block shot machine.
He probably leads the league in block shots. That might be something that we'll have to look up later. But the New York Islanders are number 1 in block shots.
Well, okay, to the New York Islanders' excuse, they may have to block shots because their goalies can't.
Have to the forwards and defensemen of the Islanders, they have saved 323 goals.
Oh man,
which is
323 block shots,
right?
And not even a quarter of the way through the season,
right? And the top, and within the top 10 and top 11 here, which I can see, they're all above 200. The Islanders are the only team that have broken across the 300-point threshold.
What is number 2?
Number 2 is the Montreal Canadiens with 277. So that might contribute to their winning ways, right?
Nice, yeah, that's gonna help.
The next stat is face-off win percentage, which can account to your team winning games and having control of the puck. Which doesn't really make sense. For some of these teams, because Boston makes sense. They're 10-6. Capitals are 9-4. The rest of the Devils are 8-3. But the rest of these teams, they're kind of mediocre at best. But at the top, with 6, they're 7, 6-3, and they have 56.9% face-off win percentage, and that's the Anaheim Ducks.
Well, you put Anaheim they've always been a decent team.
Yeah,
there's no way around that. It doesn't surprise me. That team is very they're structurally sound.
Yeah,
that team.
Yeah, in the top 10, 11 teams right there, they're all above 50.
But also you're looking at the Ducks, you gotta take their top 2 centers. You got Ryan Getzlaf and Ryan Kessler, and then you throw Andrew Cogliano in there, and I don't know who's their other. Raquel, I think might be
Rackle.
He might be him as their 3rd or 4th line, but they're at least the top 2 right there. That's, would you say, maybe 2 of the top 10 and the top 15 in the NHL when you throw that out there.
They're experienced guys. They're going to win faceoffs. They get the majority of the ice time, of course. But with winning the puck, you got to make up for it somewhat.
Yeah, you do.
The next stat I got is shot percentage. This
is interesting to me.
From bottom to top, it's 9.4, ranging to 13.9. And at the top, you got the New York Rangers with 13.9% shot percentage, which means 13.9% of the time when you're shooting the puck, you're getting a goal.
Which doesn't surprise me. They're 2nd in the league with wins.
Yeah. The next stat is penalty kill percentage, and this ranges from 83.7 with the Rangers all the way to the top to the Blues at 90.6% kill rate.
Yeah, the Blues are doing great this year on the penalty kill. That's the one thing over the last couple of weeks that has been working for them.
All right, and the next stat that I wanted to go through was scoring first against your opponent and you're winning. The Montreal Canadiens have done this 12 times.
Yeah.
They scored first and they win. Their record is 13-2-1, and when they score first, more likely than not, they're probably going to win. This is scoring first against your opponent, and you're losing. Or no, your opponent scores first,
and you win.
And you win. My bad. And at the top, you got Florida Panthers with 4.
Nice.
And they're half a game under 500 with the overtime loss, I would think. I don't know.
Now, something I want to go back to, if you don't mind, through stats with the Blues being first on the penalty kill. Would you say it's about time for St. Louis to make a move this year?
I mean, it's
We need that dynamic center. We need a legit center.
Yeah.
And with the GM meetings now,
Thornton would be nice.
we have given up 37 goals, which is the 8th worst in the league.
Yeah.
And we're 7-6-3. Shattenkirk's been that name this whole season. My question is, do you trade Shattenkirk, who has 12 points in 16 games? You know you're not going to re-sign him. Do you send him to a team that's going to re-sign him where he wants to be? You get that top-line center. You lose a little bit in defense, but you bring up Lindbaum, who's young. You wait for Edmondson to get a little better. You wait for him to get well. Or do you get rid of Hitchcock?
I honestly...
Who's in his last year?
Hitchcock's in his last year, so that's a given. I don't care. Hitchcock is... he's a good coach. Not going to say that what he's done he's done great things with the Blues, but it hasn't been the best.
He has the best winning percentage of a coach in the last 6 years with the Blues.
It's not hasn't happened here. So it doesn't. To me, that's great. That's a great stat to have. But
we're those fans that you haven't brought us the cup. What are you going to do for us?
There's still no cup. And, I mean, it's great that he came back and he's got a fire under his ass, and that's all great and fine and dandy. But if you're not going to come out and win and do something with this team and win and change the game plan and win,
so are you at getting rid of Hitchcock before trading Shattenkirk?
Hitchcock can stay. Shattenkirk, we have to do something with our forward lines, and get somebody big that's going to get to the dirty areas, because nobody's getting to the dirty areas and doing anything about winning the puck.
Now is where you're missing Backus and you're missing Brouwer.
Right.
But with those contracts that they took on, I wouldn't have done it. I don't think the size is the problem. I think it's just a legit needing the center. Needing that big line center. Yes, the center gets in the middle, blocks the shots, deflection and all that. Great, but I think you need one just for face-off's sake.
Yeah, and that's where I mean, Sobotka would have been great for winning face-offs. He led the league in face-offs before he left. That's the only reason.
Well, next year when the KHL will let him out, we will have him.
And to me, it's too little, too late. He can stay in Russia, but he's not. We can get somebody better than Sobotka for Shattenkirk.
Well, you can, but I think that's the thing is, what's the market going to be? You look at it that way, and it's just
okay.
Really hard.
We look at a team like Calgary, who needs defensemen.
But then I hear that they're going to trade Dougie Hamilton, which makes no sense.
It doesn't. Keep Dougie. Keep Dougie. That's a smart move to keep Dougie. It would be ignorant and too begins with a P, I think. But whatever. Prudent. It would be too prudent of them to send Dougie away.
It would. And I hear the Penguins are looking at him.
And that would be great for Dougie. Go win a cup. You're young. You're a great defenseman. But the Blues need to figure something out or put something in the forwards' heads to go after the puck in the dirty areas and win it. Because there's an issue. Because they have great first shot chances.
Yeah.
They're not getting rebounds.
You're not picking up those dirty rebounds.
You're not picking up the rebounds, and you're not getting your second scoring chances.
But the game we did, Crawford was just lights out. There's no way around it.
And there needs to be more intention with winning the puck. It can't just be, we got.
But that's all. It also goes to, we traded for Yakupov. We really gave up nothing for him. But he needs to produce. He is a guy who likes to just do whatever he wants to do and is very freeform. We have a system here, and he has to fall into that system. He's been a healthy scratch. But now he needs to come back and learn the system and play the game.
Yeah. I definitely feel like the Blues need to pick up somebody who's going to play a little bit more physical. Berglund has stepped up his game, but... with that, we bid you adieu. Thank you for listening to Puck Off with Gun, and we will see you next week.